Happy Wednesday, everyone. I had to ask Claudia real quick what day it was.
It's okay. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and the lady said the wrong day. She said that. So we're not the only ones, Taylor.
Thank God. We're halfway through the week. Maybe the week is catching up to you. Maybe you have a lot going on. But Studio 10 will get you feeling relaxed. They'll get you laughing, and you can look forward to your weekend with all the fun things that are happening.
Absolutely. We're organized chaos. We like to say organized chaos. But we do have a really fun show today. Now, I do have a question about our talkers today. One of our talkers, okay. I'm not going to give too much away, but we're talking about the famous football player who's going to be the host of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Now, if you were put on that show, do you think you'd do okay?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
We had a story that we ran, I think 2 weeks ago at this point, where there was a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old, not even a fifth grader.
Oh my gosh.
A 5-year-old that's one of the smartest in the world. And I was like,
I mean, and it can only go up from there. So
right? Yeah.
I'd like to think I haven't peaked yet. I'm getting to my maximum brain strength.
Well, I'm not in school anymore. We learn a lot, obviously, being here.
Yes.
Working in a newsroom, we learn a lot of different things every single day, every single hour. But, in school, you're constantly learning new things. Your brain is growing at that age. So yes. I don't think I pass.
I have, what did they say, 26 until your frontal? I have 3 months for I'm still growing, still learning, so,
There we go.
Yeah, but it is Women Wednesday, so we are also going to talk about women doing really impactful and important things. Particularly today, we're going to talk about the impacts of alopecia. It impacts so many women, and a lot of women don't even know that it's impacting their friends, and they might suffer with alopecia, and they might not even know that the conversation is out there. You can talk to people, and that's what today is about.
That's good.
And then, have you heard of color analysis, color palettes?
So before I heard you guys talk about it yesterday, of course, because I get a little preview of some of these things.
Yeah.
I have always heard that certain colors, I know I went into Sephora one time. I'm like, what eyeshadow works well for my eye color? Well, I know that clothes can do that too, and
yes.
It boosts you up. Sometimes if I'm wearing sweatpants, you don't feel as good. You put on a dress, you're like, all right, we're feeling good.
Absolutely. It is a science. Clothes and the colors we wear really do impact our confidence, even if we don't think they do. Not just for women, for men too. There have been, I was looking today, there have been a couple studies out there that suggest when you're wearing certain colors that you feel your best in, you perform better at work. You actually perform better in interviews. You perform better all around. I was reading one from, I think it was one of the research centers, saying that mothers are happier when they're wearing colors that they feel good in, and which that actually really, when you think about it, that does make sense.
When you look good, you feel good.
Yes, but a lot of us are doing it wrong. We're actually wearing colors that don't really bring out our features and don't really complement us. In fact, they can make us look kind of dull. So today we're having a color analyst from Jackson House of Color come on and show us how to do it right.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've never had this done. I've seen it done. It's a big thing on TikTok. They even have TikTok has a color palette you can test for yourself now, a filter.
Oh.
It's really a science, and it really, you never know. For instance, we're both brown-eyed girls. It can be kind of hard to find stuff to make your brown eyes pop, but with the right colors you can do that, and that's exactly what she's going to teach us today. Yeah, so we have a full show of really fun women empowering show. Men, this is empowering for you too, though.
Yes.
You can't skip out on the color analysis.
And honestly, a lot of men, I know some of you men out there, you get, whoa, we almost fell off the box.
Yeah,
Careful.
we're standing on a box.
Yes, and we have our little heels on, so that was dangerous. Oops. But I know some guys very picky about their hair,
yes.
their facial hair as well, even their clothes. Some of them, they get so picky. I know pink is always that color for guys that I'm always like, are you for it or against it?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, you can, just by learning about the color, it can make you more confident, because you're having a professional tell you you actually look really good in this, you look really not so good in that.
Yeah.
It's good to hear it from a professional. So that's what today is all about.
I like that. Well, okay, certain colors too, one of my favorites is purple. I feel like purple's and I'm wearing it today. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a calming color, depending on the shade of purple too, of course. But then yellow is to me, yellow is a happy color.
Yes.
But I wouldn't wear yellow. I think That would not work well with my skin tone.
I look atrocious in yellow.
Yeah,
so
no,
I'm right
you
there
will
with
never
you.
see me in yellow. And if you do,
But I
be
think
concerned.
the key with color analysis is we can take, when we think of yellow, we think of bright yellow. Color analysis, she's going to take like 50 shades of yellow and say, this is the yellow for you.
Oh, so maybe we do have a yellow. We're just using the wrong yellow.
Yes, because there's, color is a spectrum. So, yeah, super excited for this. So we'll see you at 3 p.m. for this conversation. Super excited. And of course, if you missed the conversation, because we know it's 3, we know a lot of people are working, you can find that all on our social medias.
Perfect. I am very excited for this. You guys always have a lot of fun topics, but I think talking about colors, especially with springtime here,
Yes.
such a great time.
It's a good vibe. We'll see you at Studio 10 for more good vibes.
Oh yes, see you then, Claudia. Thank you. And like Claudia was saying, head to their social media handles, WILX Studio 10. You can see all of the fun. And I had a coworker last week when I was feeling a little bit down, and she said, I wear a lot of black typically. And she said, hey, maybe try wearing some brighter colors that can lift up your mood. So definitely tune into Studio 10, learn how colors can help improve your confidence. You look good, you feel good, and she said it even helps you focus at work. So colors can really correlate with different things that you're doing in your life, different activities, and that's pretty cool, Justin.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. I feel like as far as what I would wear, I would look best in like a Kelly green, which is the same color as our key wall.
Yeah.
So I can't wear it on television.
No,
because
you
then I
couldn't.
disappear.
You'd be a floating head.
I know. So which maybe would be more entertaining for people. So anyways, weather today we're talking about. We had a lot earlier about tornadoes since that was today's topic.
Yeah.
If you did hear the sirens today, there was no issue. At least if it was right at 1 o'clock. There was no issue. That was just a test of that tornado emergency alert system with the sirens that we were doing for Severe Weather Awareness Week. We've talked about it a whole lot over the past several days. We did flooding on Monday, hail yesterday, and tornadoes today. And we have continued coverage on our severe weather topics both tomorrow and Friday with thunderstorms and lightning, and then the Weather Fact or Fiction segment, which I'm looking forward to myself. I won't even be here that day, but I might have to tune into the show to kind of see how that goes. And if nobody's asking questions, because we love to get your guys' questions, I might throw 1 or 2 things out there myself. And so hopefully you're joining us for those. Should be a lot of fun to discuss, but not feeling like severe weather season out there right now. We're pretty chilly today, and temperatures and winds are all there to prove it.
Oh yes. Well, let's take a live look outside, because earlier I will say, and before I show the camera that you have, I'm going to show another one because we're seeing a little bit more of this outside.
Sure.
It's the sky.
Yeah, haven't
Seeing
had
a lot more of that.
Right, haven't had a ton of it, and you see that there are a few pockets of blue peeking out there over US 127. Vehicle traffic moving along fine, and any of those folks who earlier today saw just a little bit of snow out there really have kind of seen that fade away already, and so that's been good news out there today. And once again, we got a mostly to partly cloudy sky, and the wind certainly being felt, and the sun not really helping us very much out there this afternoon. The Mason Skycam out there and the Meridian Company Skycam networks got us at 32. West-northwest wind, though, is knocking us back quite a few degrees. Feeling like 21 out there. Dew points are only in the teens. What that means here in early March to have dew points in the teens means we have a very dry air mass that has settled in, and so there's not a lot of moisture up in there right now. Got the clouds, of course, overhead, but for the dew points to be in the teens means very dry air has settled in. And the satellite and radar shows it here. Even the snow activity thinning out in the dry weather. And once again, heading into the afternoon, we might catch a snowflake or two, but nothing that's going to stick at this point. It'll just be really widely scattered activity headed into this afternoon. System's pulling away to the south and east, and that'll leave us with quieter weather tomorrow. Enjoy that, because by the time we get to Friday, we're bringing in a different system. That's going to bring us probably a couple inches of snowfall, which we'll talk about in just a moment. The temperatures right now running at 33 in Lansing and Jackson, 32 in Charlotte and Mason. St. John still stuck shy of 30 degrees, and a lot of us, again, running in those low 30s all day long today. Winds, though, are factoring in. Once again, they're out of the northwest, anywhere from 15 to 25 miles per hour, but it's not just the steady winds, it's the gusts, too. And once again, like yesterday, they're up around 35 in Lansing and 31 Hillsdale. Jackson still in the mid to upper 20s as far as miles per hour. And so got that gusty wind out here once again, and we're seeing a wind chill as a result of that that's running right around the low 20s and even teens in some pockets of mid-Michigan. So once again, we are continuing to hear some fairly, or to see some fairly quiet conditions out there aside from the wind. The skies are going to clear out this evening, and the winds die down overnight. That'll help us out in a big way, but the temperatures, once again, really not moving much today. We're pretty steady around these low 30s through the sunset, and then we'll fade off into the 20s, and eventually I think we bottom out at least in the high teens tomorrow morning. And these wind chills, while the winds will die down, once we start tomorrow 18, 17 degrees or so, we could have wind chills around 10 or maybe even a little colder than that to wake up too early tomorrow. So it'll be a morning you'll want to bundle up for sure, like you have out there today, because it's continued cold into the start of our Thursday. We at least should recover a bit. The hour by hour shows how those numbers go tonight. I do think we dip into the high teens between the hours here tomorrow morning, but right around 20 degrees or so by 8 a.m. Once again, feeling a bit colder than that. But the afternoon promises calm winds, temps back into the mid-30s. I think maybe a few upper 30s if we're lucky and thin the clouds out. But that's the quiet day that comes before Friday's system. As we get into Friday morning, snow starts to move into mid-Michigan as part of a larger disturbance out west of us, and that slides through most of the day. And I am expecting at this point for the heavier snow to be a little further north in the state than what we have got here. And so I do think that the heavier snow totals in Michigan are probably going to be north of Alma, closer to Mount Pleasant and Clare up in that area, Saginaw Bay as well. But that doesn't mean that we're completely out of the woods, because I think we are going to see some accumulating snowfall as we head into this time frame. And here is my current look at predicted snowfall. I chose this model because right now, as it stands, I agree with this one the most. Our models are still really kind of not in great agreement about how much snow we end up seeing. And so some of them are saying we get a whole bunch. Some of them are saying we get nothing at all. The solution I like at this time right now is this one, which brings generally around that 2 to 4 inch or 1 to 3 inch range to us. I think that's a fair expectation for us on Friday. Many of us probably in the low to middle end of that range, with the heavier snow a little further to the north. You see places like Ionia, Alma in the model showing that 4 to 6. It's possible for us to get into that, though, as we move throughout this time frame, because if the system does wiggle a little bit south, we could end up in that bullseye instead of just south of it. I am thinking right now, my current opinion is that we're going to be in that like 1 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 inch range. So it's not an enormous major system for us, but it's enough to cause disturbances there, certainly through Friday. The morning commute might be a little slippery, and then if we do throw down some snow on the ground, of course, that will be something we got to keep an eye out for in the midday and evening as well, heading out into our Friday. So we'll keep our eyes out on that over the coming days, and we'll have updated snow totals for you tomorrow that are maybe a little more accurate and that we feel a little more confident in moving forward. And maybe they will be those same numbers that I just showed you there, but we're going to keep an eye on it and see how things pan out as we get closer to that event. In the meantime, once again, 37 tomorrow, 35 Friday with the snow. Saturday and Sunday look like quiet days this weekend. It is a little cool Saturday night, back down to the teens one more time. Highs are in the mid-30s Saturday, around 40 degrees on Sunday. We'll call it a mix of sun and clouds, maybe a little more sun Saturday, but the weekend is dry, and so that's something to look forward to. Now, we do head into the next week early. I do think temperatures are going to come back up into the low 50s. Which is good. That also means we're a little closer, if not just above normal. But we've got two other things that are happening in addition to the 50s coming back. We're bringing in some breezy conditions once again, so the wind will pick back up. And we're also bringing in some opportunities for rain showers on those days. And that might be a pattern we run throughout most of next week. Now, the temperatures on average are still at 46 today, but it'll be about 48 degrees by the time we get out into Sunday as we head into the weekend. And so those numbers around 50 throughout next week, upper 40s to near 50, those are pretty normal for the time of year. And so that's what we're going to have next week. A return to kind of average temperatures for 5 or 6 or 7 days, which for a lot of us probably beats these below average temperatures we've had the past 5 or 6 days. But it's not, again, too big a deal here. We haven't really thrown down much in the way of snow, just a little here and there like this morning. I do think Fridays will be the more impactful snow that we haven't had in a while. But it's not even going to linger that long because we go back to 50s and rain early next week. So if you are tired of the snow, and even though we haven't seen a ton of it, if you are at this point in the year, mid-March, you're past it. Late March, we're really getting into. If you're past the snow, I know we're coming up on April within the next 10 days here, so it's pretty amazing. 10, 11 days. So to kind of sum everything up, you want to make sure that you're prepared for all of that, especially if there's snow coming on Friday. great tool we have here in News 10 to do that is the First Alert Weather app, which we shared earlier is, again, your home for not only severe weather alerts, but also just your daily forecast. It's got great interactive radar features, your most accurate and up-to-date mid-Michigan forecast in the area, and it's something that we put a lot of time and effort into, striving to make it the best product for you, not just here in mid-Michigan, but if your travel takes you anywhere, we hope that you'll use our First Alert Weather app, because we are manually updating a lot of the content that you see in there. There's video updates. You can always ask us questions. There's info in there on where to go if you need answers for certain things. And anytime that you'd like to get a hold of any of us, you can always send us an email. Whether you hop on the app or on our website, wilx.com, you can find anything that we've got. And that'll kind of help you get a hold of us if you maybe have a pressing question about the weather that you really need answered, or I guess anything. I mean, if you ask me something not related to the weather, if I know what to say, I can probably answer too. But my area of expertise, so I've been trained and so I've been told, is the forecast. And so if you ever have any questions about that, feel free to reach out and contact us. We like kind responses, or kind messages more than unkind.
Please be nice to our meteorologists.
But you know, we do. I do have to say, we have got a lot of really, really great viewers in this market, and I've gotten a ton of great messages from people over the years, and that's always really appreciated. But we're always happy to answer anything you have. And so just as long as you're respectful about whatever you'd like to ask, even if it's something you might not be happy about, please contact us and let us know. We'd be happy to do everything we can to make it a great product and to help you out and help plan your day.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I use this every single day trying to figure out what to wear. Chris is tired of the snow. I want spring and summer. I agree,
Chris, I hear you. Chris was with us at noon as well for severe weather, so thanks for coming back as you do most days, Chris.
Very important.
But
and Wendy, thank you, Justin Bradford, for these updates. You got a smiley face, Wendy, a bunny, and a flower.
We appreciate you watching. That's a very spring-like set of emojis there. It really gets me excited, looking forward to the warmer weather. So, Wendy, thank you for bringing some of the sunshine on this windy and somewhat cloudy Wednesday we have across the area. It is the first official day fully of spring. Now, of course, we've had some temperatures that have already been fairly warm this year, a couple days in the 70s for a few of us. Those probably aren't coming back before the month is over, but at some point in April, you never know. We'll kind of keep our eyes open on the long-term trend. We'll have a lot more to discuss on that coming up, not only in Studio 10, but also First at 4. We hope to see you then.
Yes, well, thank you, Justin. One more quick look outside.
Yeah.
And then, again, you will see Justin coming up at 3 o'clock today with Studio 10. In 40 minutes. Until then, we have Deanna Giles getting ready to share what she has coming up during our 90 minutes of news. But yes, one more time, because we are in the first week of spring. Today is the first full day of spring. But, of course, we have these temperatures. So always check in with the First Alert Weather app online, on our website, wilx.com, on the mobile app. And, of course, you can always tune in to our broadcast for more of those updates. And then Justin will have your updates coming up again, Studio 10, First at 4, and then Andy Provenzano coming up during our 90 minutes of news. But I do have Deanna Giles standing next to me to share what she has coming up during our 90 minutes of news. Hello.
Hi. Now, I will say, even though today is the first full day of spring, it did not feel like spring out there.
How are you feeling out there? This looks nice, but I don't know how warm it'll keep you. I like this.
You know, I have my gloves and my hat and my scarf, so I was prepared.
Okay, that's good.
This time I was prepared.
That's good. Because you have the meteorologist to keep you prepared.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. But no, I am working on talking about emergency preparedness. You know, we had our tornado siren drill earlier today at 1 o'clock, so hopefully a lot of you all were able to hear it, if you were outside, of course. But just talking with neighbors that have been through a lot of the recent tornado storms that we've had, like the one back in August. And so I was out in Weberville talking to some neighbors, and then also talking with the emergency preparedness coordinator about how people can put a plan in place, you know, in case there is another storm that comes through. And you just never know.
Yeah.
So you want to be prepared.
The other thing, too, the great thing for the Severe Weather Awareness Week when Justin was up here, he hit on the differences of the different types of tornadoes with the Fujita scale, the EFs. And so from there, he talked about if you're in a house versus an apartment versus in the car. So tune into Deanna's story coming up during our 90 minutes of news, because it'll touch more on that preparedness.
Yes, and specifically at 5 o'clock.
Yes. All right, we'll see you then.
All right.
Thank you, Deanna. And one more time, because we're talking about Severe Weather Awareness Week and tornadoes, I'm going to show you what's coming up tomorrow at noon right here on the News 10 Plus digital desk. And again, Chris Schultz has been joining us, like many of you who have been watching our 2 o'clock. You have also been joining us at noon, which we are very appreciative for. And then also you guys have been commenting and asking questions, which is great because we're sharing the information that, you know, is coming to our heads. We're trying to think of everything to inform you on. But of course, you have more specific questions. Feel free to ask that. So you are asking our meteorologists, and they can let you know live once you ask that question. But yes, this is what's coming up tomorrow and Friday. Talking about thunderstorms and lightning at noon tomorrow on Thursday. And then Friday at noon, talking about weather, fact, or fiction. So that's what you can look forward to. Otherwise, Deanna has more coming up. News 10 at 5. Thank you, Erin. And we have Erin standing by.
Hello. How's it going?
That's good. How are you? I like this.
Good. Thank you. You know,
the blues?
I was
sorry
on
to
here.
smacked you.
No, you're good. I was on here the other day. I forgot my coat. I would like everybody to know I have my coat. I'm staying warm out in the cold temperatures. So, but while it is chilly, first day of spring. I know it is the first day of spring, but so cold. Yeah, not loving it. But today I was out in the community speaking with some folks who are struggling with internet access. I don't know if you guys remember, I did a story, I want to say about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Ingham County was asking people to complete a survey. What's your internet access like? They wanted you to put in, and it was a service that tested it. And the reason they did that is because there is a whole bunch of federal dollars that have come to the state of Michigan to improve internet access.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so what they're doing, they started these surveys in Ingham County and some other areas as well in mid-Michigan about 2 years ago. And now they're reaching the tail end of that survey process. They're getting ready to start applying for these grants, but the money that's allocated, the amount of money we get is based on the amount of people who need help. So even if you have bad internet access, your Wi-Fi is slow, you know, it's taking forever to upload, watch videos, stream, that sort of thing. If you don't fill out the survey, or if you don't confirm what your internet access is like, your broadband access is like, we might be losing out on some funds here in Ingham County to get that fixed for you. So that's kind of the story I'm working on today. Ingham County wants people to go through, there's a website, it'll be in my story, News 10 at 5:30. They want people to go in, put in their address, check and see what their internet speed is listed as. Everybody's going to be listed as served. You got good internet access, underserved, it could be better, or unserved. It's just bad. So they want you to go and see if which category you're listed as, and then they want you to confirm if you think that's accurate or not. So let's say they list you as served, it's green, and you're like, oh, I don't know, it's not too good. I think maybe we're underserved. They want you to challenge that because some of the information they've gotten is from providers.
Yeah.
And they say sometimes providers will say your service is better than it is. So they want to get it from the source, from you guys, how your internet access is doing.
That's huge because I know a lot of us with so much technology going around, all these different devices, you need the Wi-Fi, you need the data, you need anything to connect so you can get on the internet, do whatever you need to be doing.
Yeah.
But when it's slow,
working from home.
Like
I talked to a guy
and you're
today.
just waiting for it to load.
Yeah, I talked to a man who lives in Delhi Township today, and he's only about 10, 15 minutes from the station, so it's not too rural, but he does live in a rural area, and he works from home some days. And he said he's had to go to the library before to get that internet access that he needs. He says the cable on his road ends at the subdivision about a half mile from his house, and then it starts back up again at the subdivision.
Of course it does.
About a half mile away from the other side of his house. So he's right in that middle area where there's no cable. His internet access is bad. He said for the cable to be extended, they quoted him $10,000. It's a lot of money that's needed to fix these gaps.
Wow.
So tune in, News 10 at 5:30, see what you need to know about filling out your survey, checking your internet access. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the chat. We're here to answer your questions, and we want to see what you guys want to know. So
right. Yeah, no, that's great. Definitely go to Erin's Facebook page. We don't have it up on there, but WILX Erin Bowling, or it might be Erin Bowling WILX. One of those. You'll find her.
WILX Erin Bowling. Yes, that's the one. I had to think on that for a second.
Okay, I was like,
but yes.
News 10 at 5:30?
5:30.
All right, thank you, Erin. We will see you then.
Good to see you as always.
And with Ingham, of course, I do want to show just a live look right now over MSU because we're seeing more of the blue sky peeking out above the clouds.
Go green.
Go white. And you were seeing some of that white flying around earlier with the flurries. But of course now you're seeing more of the vibrant colors on Michigan State University's campus, the blue in the sky, of course, some of the clouds, but then you're also seeing, you know, the bright green grass. Some of it looks a little dry still, but give it some time. But yes, pretty soon, now that we are in spring, campus is going to be looking beautiful. But I do have Riley Connell standing next to me, sharing what she is coming up. Hello, how are you?
Hello, cold. Just a little bit cold.
That seems to be a frequent thing I'm hearing for those who have been outside
I think
today.
we're all a little bit cold. I was outside today, earlier out front of the Capitol, where some folks were gathered for Early Childhood Day at the Capitol. So talking all things preschool and childcare, trying to push legislators to make some changes that are going to help to cover the cost of those things.
It's
so
expensive.
Oh yeah, I talked to a parent today who's spending $1,600 a month on childcare. So I'm sure it's something that a lot of people at home can relate to. Kind of the high costs has a lot of people wondering, you know, is it even worth it for me to go to work? It would actually be cheaper for me to not work and not have to pay for childcare.
Well, think about it. You have rent or mortgages plus that, and if you're not spending that time at home, that's a tough decision. You're almost at a crossroads, like what I do.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of folks today too, talking about the impact that this is going to have on people who might want to start families in the future. You know, people who are of a younger generation right now thinking about, you know, starting their families. And is this going to play a factor? Are people going to, you know, refrain from having kids because of the cost of childcare? So that's kind of a real fear out there. You know, it takes people out of the workforce as well, as what many of the advocate groups said today.
Well, even right there, you said it. Do I even want to have a kid or have another kid because of the cost of childcare? And birth and children, you know, that's supposed to be a happy time.
An exciting time.
Yeah, and then when you're questioning it because you don't even know if you can have someone watch your child, get them the education they need to grow in this world, that speaks volume right there. I feel like I don't even need to keep going on that.
It would leave you wondering if it's worth it, most definitely. So I talked to a couple of parents today who were kind of sharing their stories. Many of those parents, too, also kind of working in the advocacy field, who have kind of gotten involved in advocacy groups to try to push lawmakers to take some of these things into consideration. A couple of different things that the governor laid out in her budget proposal for 2025 was, you know, a free preschool program for kids aged 4 and under. And also some free childcare for childcare workers. There were a couple of different things put into that budget. It hasn't been approved yet, so some of the advocates I talked to said now is the time to say, you know, this is what we want out of this budget. We think these dollars need to go toward early childhood education and childcare. So that's what today was all about. And they did hear from Senator McDonald Rivet as well, who's a mom of 6. So kind of, I know, kind of jumped out of my skin at that one, but
wow.
So she shared a little bit of her experience and is kind of the lawmaker rallying for some of these things too. So a couple of different perspectives to hear from today, but it was definitely cold. It was snowing, and all of those folks were outside and you know, brought speaker after speaker up, so they were definitely dedicated to their cause, standing out in the cold like that.
And so are you. I'm glad they're safe and warm inside.
Yeah. You know, it's for the people. So
a little salute.
yeah, and I'm
so Wednesday.
and I'm saluting Wednesday afternoon. So
that's all right. Well, okay. I mean, Aaron just talked about a funding story. You're talking about a funding story and getting that money. Yes, getting that money, which I'm sure, again, a lot of you at home.
Oh yeah.
If only I had the money. If only I had the money. They're advocating to go get this money. So, News 10 at?
News 10 at 5:30. And
right.
if you've got some childcare struggles that you'd like to share, we do a lot of stories on childcare. So please feel free to reach out. I'm WILX Riley Connell. My email is up there and everything. So, you know, feel free to touch base with us. And if you've got an impactful story to share, I know there's a lot of parents out there trying to figure this out. So yeah, there's more stories to come on this. So don't be afraid to reach out and, you know, share your story with us, and we'll be here to listen for sure.
Do you want to type in Facebook real quick so I can try to show people right there? Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if we're logged in or not. Oh,
We're not.
I was going to show their Facebook pages so we can push to their page. So for Aaron's story, WILX Aaron Bowling. For Riley, WILX Riley Connell. You can find them, of course, if you go to WILX on our Facebook pages as well. Go find them, and do you have a post up where they can comment?
Not yet, but I
Okay,
could
get
have
that.
one. My
She's going to
inbox
get a
is
post
open,
ready.
though.
Yes, email as well. Feel free to shoot Riley and Aaron any questions or comments regarding their stories, and they will do their best to get that
Prompt
in.
response.
Prompt response, yes, yes, yes. All right, well, thank you, Riley. News 10 at 5:30. That's when you can expect her story as well as Aaron Bowling's. Now, I will reverse a little bit with what is coming up today. First at 4 during Mid-Michigan Matters today, we are bringing in someone to talk about the Sparrow and Mish Health merger, and that is coming April 1st. So, I mean, April is right around the corner, like you're hearing Justin Bradford talk about. So, coming up during Mid-Michigan Matters today, we're going to be talking about this merger, what this means for patients, what this means for those in the healthcare system, because you're all being affected. So, we want to share with you and clarify these changes and transitions for you. Then coming up, News 10 at 5, our Seth Wells is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Also Joey Ellis, where the hometown Tar Heels are set to tip off against our Michigan State Spartans tomorrow afternoon in round 1 of the NCAA men's tournament. So Seth Wells will be giving us a live preview for us following MSU's practice earlier today. And I can tell you, if you were joining us for News 10 today at 11, it was very loud in the stadium, Spectrum Center where he was. And man, you could hear the MSU fight song. It just seemed like great, lively energy. So tune in News 10 at 5. Seth Wells will be live. And then coming up, News 10 at 5:30. Families in Michigan affected by drug abuse now have expanded access to treatment services through Michigan circuit courts. We'll have more on the drug court changes, again, coming up News 10 at 5:30 today. Coming up, News 10 at 6. Tonight, Jackson Mayor Daniel Mahoney will deliver his State of the City address. So we'll have a live look from Jordan Burrell coming up on News 10 at 6. We also had a preview of this, again, talking about Daniel Mahoney. So we'll have more on that coming up, News 10 at 6 with Jordan Burrell. That is what we have coming up today. With all of the changes in the weather, again, I know it's spring. It is the first full day of spring, and it really is not feeling like it. So feel free to go to our You're Not Alone mental health series. We will have a QR code pop up there in just a second there. And with it, you can scan the QR code and it'll pull up a list of resources. And it's broken off by different counties around Michigan, more specifically mid-Michigan. For all of you viewers out there, we wanted to make it more personalized for you, of course, to help guide you toward a better resource. And no matter what you're going through, whether it's anxiety, depression, maybe, you know, the sun that we were having at the end of February was lifting your mood, and now that we're in spring, the clouds and the lack of sun may be putting you back in your feels. No matter what you're going through, if it's a little up and down, the ebbs and flows of life, or if it's been a prolonged period of time that you're feeling depressed, having suicidal thoughts, stress, anxiety, again, anything of that nature, go scan that QR code and you can find those resources on our website, wilx.com, pointing you in the right direction. So again, we are also going to have stories all year long here on News 10, whether that's talking with mental health care professionals on treatment and prevention, knowing the signs and symptoms, and also talking with community members on what they noticed and speaking on their own personal journey, and just relating that to you if you're going through the same thing. So know that you're not alone, and we are going to show more of that coming up on News 10 all year long. One last thing I do want to show before we hop off the desk here is another preview of tomorrow coming up at noon right here on the News 10 Plus digital desk for Severe Weather Awareness Week. Again, a lot of you I'm seeing in the chat today were also here earlier for the News 10 Plus desk, tuning in at noon. And today we talked about tornadoes. Like Justin Bradford was saying, tornadoes are like the poster child for severe weather. Of course, we experienced several tornadoes over the course from the beginning of this year and even last summer at the end of August, the one that went through Williamston, and still recovering from that. I know FEMA agencies coming around to make sure that they're tending towards those residents and those homes and businesses that were severely destroyed. So to get you prepared during Severe Weather Awareness Week, our meteorologists are talking every single day here at noon. Tomorrow you're going to have Colton Sikoraki talking about thunderstorms and lightning, as you can see as I'm circling it with the mouse right here. And then Friday, weather, fact, or fiction. So come with your questions, come with different topics and more specific questions, because if you're asking a question, someone else probably has that question too. So feel free to ask it. We're going to give you some facts and fiction. And of course, you can also just ask questions that can help you better understand what to do when severe weather strikes. And of course, we're doing it this week. We had a question as to why we're having it this week, and because it is Severe Weather Awareness Week, there is no severe weather in the forecast for this week, although I will preview, like Justin was talking about not too long ago, about 20 minutes ago or so. Wow, this is going long. We have lots to talk about today. That there will be that snow system moving in Friday morning, staying towards the afternoon hours. So on your commute in and your commute after work or wherever you're driving that day. So make sure to download the First Alert Weather app so that you are getting alerted on the weather updates and also the traffic alert updates too. Such a great resource to have on your phone. Other than that, you can tune in tomorrow for the News 10 Plus Digital Desk, and we'll have more on the Severe Weather Awareness Week here at noon. Until then, we have Studio 10 coming up in about 20 minutes here, then First at 4 and our 90 minutes of news. So have a great rest of your day, everyone.